All right, we are recording.
Woo.
So yeah, I was definitely distracted because I have not listened to Sum 41. So look, React is literally, I'm either learning about computers, I
Hmm.
am learning about sociology, or I'm watching React videos and like recipe videos on YouTube. That is all I do.
I mean, that's valid. That seems like a normal life to lead.
Like I don't watch TV anymore. I am on and off with games, but because I'm normally asleep. But I might load up the Harry Potter like after I'm done here.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's so lit. Well, you're working. You have time.
Yes. I am working. I am a hard working man right now.
I feel you. I mean, my cousin does the same thing. She has work shows that she puts on while she's at work.
I mean, you got to, especially if you're working the overnight. There's nothing to do, especially when you're caught up on all. I'm tech support. Once I
Yeah,
get
it's
caught up on all the tickets, it is literally just sitting here trying to entertain yourself.
true.
And I know it's not like, see, I understand some people that can't do the night shift because they just get sleepy and it drags
Yeah.
on. I'm a night owl. It's a struggle for me to go to sleep when I'm done with work because I'm like, man, I'm still up, but I guess let me go ahead and call it a night at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Nah, you need to go to sleep. If you don't go to sleep, you're gonna be trash, buddy.
I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I guess let's go ahead and welcome the peoples to episode, what are we on now? 17 of our lovely podcast,
Yeah.
Big Letter Little Letter podcast, where I am your host, Hedo.
And me, Jam.
Hey Jam.
Hi.
Where have you been?
I have been moving, starting a new life. It's a whole new world. That's a song, right?
Are you saying that because you colored Jasmine just now?
No, but valid. I'm making all of my Disney princesses black women in my new coloring book.
And see, and Jasmine, she was already a part of the Brown collective.
Yeah, I mean, I only have but so many crayons in this 8 pack of crayons, so we're gonna use what we got.
Look, you are a grown ass little. You better go ahead and upgrade to that 64 kit.
First of all, I'm a grown ass little whose daddy needs to upgrade her to the 64 kit.
Fair. That is actually a fair response.
I know.
Well, as far as myself, I haven't been doing too much outside of working. Started my new shift that I was talking about where I am an overnight person, which love the shift. I get to get caught up on stuff. I get to watch my shows, and I get the occasional call where I gotta help someone out from them not making no money. Hooray, tech support!
Sorry. But at least you have time to you could legitimately learn a new skill.
Yeah, but the way my ADHD is set up, if I don't have no interest in learning that skill, it will not be learned,
You have a lot of nights to figure something out.
and I will likely rewatch the same anime every single night as I figure that out.
Don't you have like a to-do list or like a what do they call those lists that you make for short periods of time?
I have no idea. A checklist?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I have them. I just never check them off because I forget where the list is. But
Usually you got to put it on the wall.
I get to re up on my Vivants. I have a I got a little calendar thing on the wall right now. Guess what it's being used for? To count the days. That's it.
Count the days. I mean, sure.
But no, I mean, I'll figure something out. Like I'm trying to expand our online presence. I might try to like plan some things to talk about on the TikToks or, we have our
Ooh.
Instagram, big letter, little letter, where I want to go ahead and get some postings up there also. See,
Yeah, we've so many definitions.
oh no,
And
we can make it big so we can hire someone to do that for us.
yes, I keep trying to tell y'all we famous. I'm calling it in every episode. We're famous. We're making money. Somebody else runs our social media.
I mean, hold on. We're not making money now. We would like to. This is a passion project as of now.
Yes, but we're gonna get there.
All right. Now, I mean, beyond that, haven't done too much. I did do a performance where I did like an impact scene on a birthday lady for
Yes.
this company that makes lingerie,
Ooh.
Leclerc. Like they were kind of celebrating the gentleman that set it up, celebrating his partner's birthday, as well as the launch of their app. Which I took a look at the lingerie on there. Shit was fire. There was like some 4-piece get-ups in there. I'm like, I
Ooh.
can surprise my lady with this. I just gotta make sure the cup sizes are right, because
Child.
my
Cup
lady.
sizes and lingerie are like the most difficult thing.
Look, my lady thing be thinging, so I gotta make sure.
I know.
Like,
I know.
but yeah, I did that. I will be in Pittsburgh in August because I got reached out to by a friend to just perform some impact that way for the Come Talk podcast. They're doing a thing out there in Philly. So I'll be
I
out
love
that
it.
way in August. And then I just got asked to do the Kink Box again in October,
Nice.
where I'm going to be doing some wax and knife play. So I, sorry people, it has been a few weeks, but your boy's been busy.
I'm so proud of you. Your updates sound way better than mine.
Your updates are about life changing events. Mine, shenanigans.
Come on. Shenanigans are what I dream of.
Shenanigans are everything. That's why in 3 weeks I'll be in Jamaica doing some more shenanigans.
I'm jealous, but it's okay. We're gonna get there. We're gonna go through a long dry spell. I'm gonna have to kink by myself.
You're gonna get
But
there. It's just a matter of cleaning house, getting things in order. Laying the Legos in the right places, and then you get to just go ahead and have a ball.
and then I shall shenanigan.
All right, now don't want to go ahead and make this an extra long episode, so why don't we go ahead and get into the letter of the day?
Yes, see, I waited. I didn't just blurt it out.
Yes, but that's because we switched up a little of the platform. Because if I came in with the welcome to the podcast, the letter of the day is B for bondage, you went straight to so let's talk about bondage. What is
Let's
it?
talk about
I'm
bondage.
like,
Come
what?
on.
Can we personalize with the people first? What's going on with me? What's going on with you? But see, now we got that out of the way. So yes, let's get into the letter of the day.
Yes, B is for
B
bondage.
A N A N A
I have
S.
such a good story to tell at the end of the episode, so I'm gonna wait.
Okay, make sure you hold on to it. We don't want to lose it. But yes, today we're talking about B is for bondage. Now, what is bondage? Now, we all know the acronym BDSM. Now, what that acronym does, it infuses a lot of the kinks and fetishes that go along with it into just one like super collider of an acronym. Because with the B, bondage. That's what it stands for. Though it does have like bondage, dom, sub, sadomasoch. It fuses things together. But we're talking about the letter B, which is for bondage. This can be enjoyed by vanilla people. This can be enjoyed by kinky people, experimental people. It could be just sexual bondage. It could just be a bondage of attrition. It could be a whole lot of things that could go on with the simple with the simple word bondage.
What a
And
verse word.
it's a very, very, very versatile. But as far as what we're talking about, what is bondage? It's just a practice involving tying up or restraining a partner. This can be done with rope, tape, handcuffs, spreader bars, Velcro, zip ties, sheets, ties, belts, anything in order to restrain someone from movement.
Yeah, some of our favorites out here are ties, men's ties. That's the good stuff.
I mean, look, you get off from a long day at work and your lady over here doing a little one thing too much, getting a little too
Mm.
bratty. Go ahead and
Oh
just
my God.
remove that silk tie. Go ahead and, assert some authority to make her remember who's the one that, holds her down.
All right, all right. Don't listen to the rest of the episode before you go tying people down.
Of course. Now, Jam, why would someone use bondage?
To spice it up, spice up your life. I got a lot of music in my head today.
All right, you can always go karaoke later, but what we got going on?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna use bondage to spice it up. Maybe it's kink regarding control. You can use it as foreplay. You can use it as my favorite thing, sensory deprivation, and you can definitely use it as punishment, which I do not endorse as a bratty little. But people, what?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, yeah, of course. After negotiation, it could be used as
After
punishment. Don't just
negotiate.
surprise the motherfucker with bondage as a punishment.
Right. But also, people enjoy bondage for many different reasons. Submissives might like bondage because they want to please their partner, or they like the feeling of being out of control, or maybe they like the idea of being used. Some people believe in delayed gratification. Some of us don't want to wait. But that's what bondage is for.
Now, I would say, as far as a dominant, why I would use it, it's kind of enhancing the overall dynamic of a dom and a sub, where a dom is the person that handles the control that is provided by said submissive, or the master of a slave. It's a matter of whatever control is negotiated in that dynamic, where it is expressing a form of control that's not just simply mental or I forget the word I'm looking for. Maybe it'll come to me later. Now, it can be a real turn on in regards to kind of limiting someone's activities and motions, but also to kind of touch on something that we're going to go into later is also a matter of safety, because
Yeah.
there are some BDSM activities where the sub might either be a little shifty, might move in a way that you don't expect them to move, be it for a wax play, be it for knife play, etc. That bondage, it kind of helps them stay in place so you're not at risk for causing harm to them, because some people get a little squirmy. Had that happened once before during a wax scene where the person kicked the candle out of my hand.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, your boy got cat like reflexes, caught that motherfucker easily because I play with fire, so I know how to handle the burn.
Yeah, but definitely you want to think about with your partner or anybody that you're engaging with bondage. Make sure you're on the same page. So, like in Hedo's case, you would talk to somebody like, "Hey, we're doing wax. The feeling might be surprising. We're gonna just some light bondage. Maybe you're doing it in a sexy way because if one person is doing bondage and finding it really sexy, and the other person is like, no, this is just for safety." I feel like that's gonna be a little awkward. Like, why are you coming all over the place? I just wanted to tie you up to keep you safe.
So, yes, all within negotiations. But now, let's talk about how it's performed and what's involved with it.
So you can use all kinds of things for bondage. Like we said, handcuffs, blindfolds, basic restraints like ropes. You can even use sex furniture, even cages. I think some of the funner things to use are household items like neckties and pantyhose, right? But the process of applying bondage restraints can be very arousing for partners. And once the submissive is fully restrained, the dominant might tease them with toys or their hands. They might have oral or penetrative sex or like use them in a way that they see fit that you've both discussed beforehand, of course.
And
And then,
yeah,
of course, yeah, we talked about using bondage as like a method for safety or even for punishment.
and so another thing that's important in how it's performed, you gotta be mindful of the a person's anatomy. So one of the
Yes.
first things that I had to, while I was learning to do rope bondage, one of the first things I had to learn was certain areas of the human body that you are to avoid at all costs.
Hmm.
Things like the wrist, back of the knee, certain angles of the ankle. And like the reason for this is because there are clusters of nerves that would be in that area, and if you don't bondage right, you might end up severely damaging somebody. So that's
You
why
really want to do that.
yeah, that's why it's very important in regards to the how to. You learn a person's body and learn where to do certain bondages and where not to. And again, things can be as simply as use like handcuffs. We all seen the fuzzy handcuffs at the sex shop.
Mhm.
That's like one of the easiest things to connect them to a lamppost. Just make sure that she's actually doing it for fun and not because you cheated on her with somebody. Because
Right.
she will leave your ass at the motel butt ass naked. We've seen it in the movies. That's because it happened in real life.
Listen, we've set bondages for a lot of things, safety, fun, but we are not out here to cause any type of harm, physical or psychological. So, what I do also want to know is that if you're engaging in bondage with somebody, check in with them. Like, what is your experience? Maybe they prefer soft things if they don't want to use handcuffs. We all know what the world is like today, and sometimes handcuffs can be triggering.
Yeah, yeah. Don't want to be in handcuffs ever again like that. But
Yeah.
that is not a story for this podcast. But yeah, generally how it's performed is it's also a matter of again, communication will be something that we will forever talk about. And
Hmm.
so, whenever you're tying someone down, you could tie them to furniture, you could tie them to another person, you could tie them just to themselves. There are various ways that you can involve bondage. And there's actually another fun one that I seen recently, which is the latex bed.
A latex bed.
So yeah, so that essentially is kind of a combination of people with latex fetish, but it also
Mm-hmm.
is that bondage fetish where they are laid under a layer of latex. Of course, there's a breathing hole for them, but then the air in there is vacuumed out, and so their body is pressed and
Oh,
sealed into that latex bed. That right there is a form of bondage. They are unable to move. They are stuck in that position.
oh my gosh. I'm not gonna hold you. I saw that a long time ago, like on some 90s style photography, and totally forgot about
See, I'm well knowledgeable, you know.
it.
But yeah, so there are just various ways in which you can practice bondage. From the Monday, we all saw the 6 pack plastic ring joke about bondage on a budget, and
Oh, yes.
you can go very intricate, get some chains and get some things going where you have someone just completely bound to themselves and cannot even move a muscle without
Oh
thinking
my
about it.
God. You know what I saw at a party once? Somebody tied two chicks together, like back to back, like butt to butt, and put a double-sided dildo in between them. That was fire.
I'll be vibrated. Sorry, my my creativity kicks in when I hear something like that, and I'm just like, ooh, what if they did? Mm.
It was a real good show.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about safety. We did touch
Yeah,
on it, but we can talk. We can always talk a little more on safety.
always. Yeah, so Hedo mentioned the points where you should avoid because arteries, because nerves. We're talking around the joints, around the neck, and things like that. As a rule, when you're engaging in bondage, you should be able to slide one or two fingers between the skin and the restraint of the harness. Always check at every point, double check with your two fingers to make sure there's space.
And yeah, you and as the person, the dominant, the top, the person that's in control of the restraints, you also gotta be mindful of the person's just general well-being. Like make sure they're breathing properly, make sure there's no discoloration in the skin, make sure like certain body parts aren't getting cold, and also you want to make sure you have the necessary means to get someone released quickly. In terms of rope, they are surgeon scissors that's normally even sent in with like a kit that came from I got from Agreeable Agony. They literally throw in a pair of surgeon scissors so that
That's
way
awesome.
you can always cut someone out in kind of any kind of situation, because you can always buy more rope, as Rory Brainwork says. You can always buy
Mm-hmm.
more rope. You cannot buy another life.
Facts.
So it's always good to like have those type of methods in order to get someone out quickly and safely. Make sure you're not doing any kind of hard knots, so that way you want to make sure that you can get someone in as to a safe position as quickly as possible,
Hmm.
because if something's going wrong, you want to reduce the harm as much as possible as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and if you were a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout, you might want to brush up on those snot skills. We know there are ones that you could pull and they'll release real easy. Those are the ones you should be using in bondage.
Yep, handcuffs. Make sure it's not too tight. Keep the key handy. There is no jokes. Don't hide the key. Nothing like that. If you're dealing with if you're dealing with like leather, something that's a little bit tougher to get
Hmm.
out of, you got to be mindful of how things start, because a belt is kind of hard to get it released as quick as possible with scissors, especially surgeon scissors. Those
Hmm.
situations you might have to use a knife, which will be dangerous. So the best way to be precautious and safe is to do things right in the beginning.
Yes. Tell them, tell them, tell them. Also, like checking in with safety is a good way for you to say some sexy things to somebody while you're tying them up, to check in with them, touch all over their body, make sure it's warm and still has color. And then, like, you could do it sexily. It don't got to be like a let me tap you, check and make sure you're still
Oh,
cold.
and let's be fair, I do have some anemic friends, so the temperature might not be the tell all, but have them grip your fingers. Have like test their grip. If they're able to grip your fingers with no problem, that's another way
Mhm.
to make sure they're not losing circulation. And another thing that also comes into safety is check your equipment. Like,
Yes.
make sure you actually have your equipment working properly. We're not over here trying to have any kind of rusty cuffs or some like sweaty things you never cleaned up after a while.
Please
Like,
don't use.
just make sure your equipment, maintaining your equipment is very important. You want to make sure that things are working properly, because more times than not, failure happens from neglect.
Yes, never assume anything. Like, don't take something and I assume this is clean because something that's dirty against potentially sweaty skin can lead to infection, okay?
So yes, and I mean, another part of the safety is the consent and responsibility in regards to this.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've both said earlier on, just as the dominant needs to be aware of their role and as need to be aware of their role in the role of the sub, the same is true for the sub, where they gotta be aware of the role of the dom and make sure they know what's going on.
Yeah, subs have a responsibility to speak up when something starts to feel uncomfortable. Never get to a point where you feel like you can't talk to somebody about it, or else you shouldn't be playing with that person. And if something starts to feel uncomfortable, it's easy to adjust rather than you put up with it for a little while and then you can cause serious damage.
And none of this talk of mama ain't raised no bitch. Yeah, well,
Right.
if that's what you're thinking, then yes, the fuck she did. Speak up, figure out what's going on, because what's not going to happen is you having irreparable harm only because mama ain't raised no bitch. Like, no, drop that dumb thinking. Like, this is about safety, this is about consensual and safe fun. So if something's going on, let that person know. If that person is ignoring your concerns, that's a red flag. End the session, say your safe word, and get the move on.
Yeah, so like we said, make sure you're discussing interests and limits before starting the bondage scene to make sure you're on the same page. And like we've said many, many times, and in almost every episode, you can always change your consent at any time.
Yep, and that's what that safe word is for. That safe word is to let it be known that all things must end, and that is your get out of jail free card. Shout out to Monopoly. Because once you agree on that safe word, and again, everyone they hear in the world, they're not reputable. Everyone does not have your best interest at heart. We do have some predators out here that fake as if they're DOMs, end up causing a lot more harm than good because of their narcissistic tendencies. But as long as you're dealing with someone that's decent, y'all will agree on the safe word. They will be on the lookout and hear that safe word, end all things, and make sure you're okay. If you're gagged, there's normally a physical version of said safe word. For me personally, when I go my stoplight system, I tell them, go into a fist. I will stop and check in. Like I do get some people might just go into a fist to like grit and like grind it, but I will still check in. Hey, is everything okay? And so more times than not, they're like, "Sorry, yes, I'm okay. I was just bracing myself," and then we continue. But again, you gotta have some kind of like cue to know, like, hey, something's up. We gotta go ahead and get me out of this rope, cuffs, tie, etc.
Yeah, better to check in than to leave something unsaid. Some other nonverbal clues you can use are one, two, three. People are less likely to put up one, two, three when they're feeling extreme reaction. So just consider like what hand movements you can use, and the dominant should be watching out for those hand movements at all times. Better safe than sorry. But also along those lines, remember that the safe word is for both sides, top and bottom, dominant, submissive, vanilla people. Anybody should be able to use the safe word because you want to make sure everyone's feeling comfortable emotionally and physically. You get aroused. Maybe you can withstand higher levels of pain. You're not using your safe word when you usually would. But if the dominant is starting to feel uncomfortable, like check in. You can use the safe word or just check in and let somebody take a minute, take a breath, and then maybe they'll get a feeling of what's happening in my body.
Oh, most definitely. And even beyond that, when we're touching on that sub dom dynamic, it's also also gotta be recognized that the top, the dominant, the master, the etc. of the scene, generally what they're doing is also monitoring the submissive to make sure that everything's going okay. Like you do your best to handle things emotionally, but the main concern is also the physical. You want to make sure again you're not causing any kind of harm that way,
Mm.
especially because when someone's turned on or someone is heightened or those endorphins kick in, you can handle a lot of pain in those situations. So you got to be
Yeah,
mindful of what you are kind of dishing out or what you're doing at those times. Because, again, if they're having lower circulation than normal, they're not going to realize it. So it's on you to go ahead and make sure that things are flowing properly. And on top of that, though, this is like a 50-50 thing because if you are including sensory deprivation with your bondage, this one might be a little bit mixed. Just make sure you negotiate appropriately. But it's important not to just leave them tied up and alone. Like you don't want to just have someone stuck in a room with no way to get out, and they're just like up to the wheels of someone at a party where someone walks in like, oh, you're tied up, and let people like mess with them like that. Like that's not
yeah.
the end game here.
Best believe that, like, I'm sure we've seen lots of things in movies. We've had thoughts. Anything that you see has definitely been negotiated. The safety factor has definitely been considered. Like Hedo said, like people aren't being left alone in the middle of a party or something. If somebody's being left alone, like they're probably not truly alone. Somebody's watching. Maybe there's a camera, maybe someone's standing outside the door, making sure that they're okay. But like there's always a safety measure in place.
Oh yeah, don't let porn warp you into thinking what it should be, because
It's
no,
always
like
born.
look, I've heard of a horror story where a guy tied someone down and then let people just touch her, and that horrified me.
That's a no go.
So yeah, that's why it's like these things are important because we like to have nice things. It's just fucked up when people ruin a good time. So that's why we can't have nice things because of a stupid person or two.
Yeah, please don't ruin nice things. Bondage can be safe and fun.
So now, I mean, we're about to wrap this up soon, but we of course want to go ahead and talk about how people can get started.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I'm part of this group called Black Light Collaborative, and the overall focus there is just learning about rope tying, be it shibari, just standard Western bondage, etc. And what I would say to get started is honestly one of my advice I got from TBL is just simply go and get you a hank of rope and do some self tying. You can do it like a futomomo. You can go ahead and just tie one hand to like a post or something. Like you can go ahead
Hmm.
and get some self tie practice in. that is like my go-to as far as getting started. What about you, Jam?
No, honestly, same. I feel like we say it every episode, every time we talk about something new, we talk about trying it on yourself first. I'm like, I'm still pretty much in my self tie phase, although I have been like tied up by others. But I think when you start to explore with other materials, see how it feels on your own skin. Like, what does leather feel like to you? What does cold metal feel like to you? And kind of just sit with that for a while before you engage with it in others.
Um, um, Now I also did want to say because see, we worked together on this outline, and then I see next level thrown in there. So, what did
Mhm.
you want to say about psychological bondage?
Oh, listen. If you have been practicing bondage for a while and you're like, okay, what's next? We talking psychological bondage, baby. This is bondage of the mind. When you're really in subspace and you have a good relationship with your dominant, we're talking things like the dominant ordering the submissive to stay still or hold a position. And a submissive that is keen to obey a dominant, they don't need physical restraints to do as they're instructed. They're going to stay there. They're not going to move until they're given instruction to do so.
So yeah, so that can go on the range of giving a position, whether they're told to stand at attention, to kneel, anything to that effect, or even someone under bratty behavior being told to stand in this corner because they want to act out.
Listen, I told you I went to Black Queer Dom Submissive Weekend and we learned all about poses. And the group of subs have been doing pose practice for some time now. But the most beautiful thing, well, not most, because I think it's just awesome that we're doing it with one another. But the praise that you receive from Doms that see you practicing your positions and when you can move through your position smoothly and follow the prompts or the commands, uh, the praise is something else.
Ah, see, you just the way you just lit up now. Eventually, we'll go into a video thing. I don't know when, but she just lit up just talking about these poses.
So good.
All right. Well, Jam, since we're gonna wrap up soon, do you have any personal experience with bondage that you care to share with the class?
Oh, yes. Two actually. One not so hot, and I hope it's like a warning story for people. um, it's not that bad. But the first time I was slut shamed involved bondage, actually. I wanted to try my fuzzy handcuffs with my partner. And at first they were like, yeah. And then they were like, why do you want to do this? And you're probably, I was getting a lot of accusations, buddy. So for a lot of people, bondage is their first step in BDSM. Maybe you saw somebody with their tie come home from work and that was really sexy to you, or maybe you got a pair of fuzzy handcuffs that you thought were super cute. I think when people bring these things up to you, carefully consider what they're trying to do, how they might feel, and like take a moment to think about it if you're not sure. That's my first story. My second story though is that the first time I was tied at a party, phenomenal. They were checking in with me, like touching all over my body, whispering in my ear. And it actually was a moment for me to check in with myself because I almost fell off the bench, child. And I had to tell them. So, yeah,
I would say for me, well, I mean, you've seen me do certain things I've posted.
I've seen you do
Um,
amazing things.
I mean, yeah, there was a time I attached my anger partner to a chair while having a vibrator in her. I've multiple times actually. I need to do that. Oh yeah, my plans to do that again. I gotta try out that the creature toy.
Oh,
But yeah, I've
what?
been practicing rope for a bit. I bought some other things. I got my spreader bar to do my sensory deprivation stuff. I won this one kind of restraint. I haven't tried it out yet. It's kind of like it holds both arms in, kind of like it's like a leather cuff.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't tried it out yet, but I'm intrigued to do so.
I want to see.
Um, but yeah, it's just I have quite a few experiences. It's been a while since I've really gotten to bondage recently. Oh yeah, I do have that picture where so I have a canopy bed. I have a picture where I have her tied up and like kind of strung out on the canopy bed. It's I have so many different stories and pictures and whatnot. I mean, y'all, hey, if y'all check out my Instagram, it might be up there somewhere.
I feel like there should be a meme where they're like, if your girl got a canopy bed or a metal bed with bars, she probably a freak.
I'm the one that bought the bed. That's the crazy part. But yeah, that's just my own experience. I normally use bondage not for the bondage itself, but for the other applications. Because I love sensory deprivation, I love wax play, I love knife play, I love orgasm control, I love electroplay. Like I use it in order to implement my other kinks and fetishes.
I really love that because bondage is such an experiment in trust.
And that's the reason why I do my best not to erode trust, because it takes one fuck up for everyone to be like, "Yep, we don't deal with him no more."
We love you, Hedo. Your what's that word? Your brand is safe with us.
I mean, look, just trying to expand the brand into, more impacts, more breadth plays,
I'm
but we'll
looking
see.
forward to it. I gotta see you soon. Maybe I'll meet you in Pittsburgh.
All right, maybe. My plan is to come up to the New York area just to like hang out with folks anyways, sometime in like September, so we'll see.
On it.
All right, since we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here,
Wrap it
my
up.
favorite co-host Jam, what you want to plug to the people?
Hey guys. So I'm still in the cuddling business. You can find me in Jersey. You can find me in New York. If you're in the area or if you happen to attend a party that I attend, find me. I do cuddle sessions or cuddle parties.
All right. And I guess we're gonna go ahead and let it be known I underscore mean underscore her for IG, and everything be in the show notes. As
It's in the notes, man.
It's all in the notes. As for me, I am the hedonistic Dom. I go by Hedo. Everything is hedonistic Dom with one variation or another. That'll be available in the show notes. Be sure to follow our Big Letter Little Letter podcast on IG. Gonna start uploading some more things there. And that's all I have for you people today.
Do it and don't forget to rate the podcast 5 stars where you listen.
Hey, I forgot to do that plug. Appreciate you. All right. Well, au revoir,
And
y'all.
stay kinky.
Stay kinky and safe. Bye, y'all.
Bye.